Hi, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Uncomfortably Comfy, a place where we dive into those spaces in life that feel familiar yet unsettling and explore how to embrace the discomfort for personal growth. I'm Jennifer French, your host, and today we're going to explore the often hidden yet deeply interconnected experiences of shame, vulnerability, and the discomfort that comes with change. Today, we'll dive into how our own internal templates and patterns formed through past experiences make it difficult to lean into our vulnerabilities. Along the way, I'll share some personal stories that highlight the journey from self-protection to self-compassion and the tools that can help us navigate this terrain. Shame is a powerful emotion that many of us encounter, often unexpectedly. It whispers doubts into our mind, and its voice can sound eerily familiar, almost like an echo of criticisms we've endured in the past. And at its core, shame often acts as a protective mechanism, rooted in past trauma and experiences where being seen and not heard was the norm. For many, this stems from childhood moments of vulnerability, times where expressing individuality, sharing thoughts, or speaking up led to not understanding, but to misunderstandings or even rejection. This fear often is reinforced by parental responses such as shaming or dismissiveness, which teaches us to suppress our voice, to conform, and to even avoid standing out. These early interactions create internal templates that prioritize safety over our own ability to be authentic. They shield us from the perceived dangers of being different or risking judgment, but they also stifle personal growth. Over time, these templates harden, forming patterns that discourage us from embracing new opportunities or leaning into those spaces of vulnerability. Yet only by acknowledging these protective roots can we begin to unravel shame's hold and step into the discomfort of change. Let me start by sharing a personal moment of reckoning with shame. Whenever I face something new that excites me but feels daunting, whether it's starting a creative project, trying to even connect with people on a deeper level, or taking a risk in my career, I hear a chorus of negative voices. They say things like, "You're not good enough. What do you think you're doing? Why are you attempting this? Maybe you need to do this before you do that. You're gonna get judged. You're gonna get hurt." Oh, these are voices can be relentless, and they stem from years of absorbing external criticism. For a long time, I've done the work to silence these voices of shame and anxiety. I've reflected, I've analyzed, I've leaned into that discomfort. But even now, when shame shows up, I realize it's not about eliminating it. It's about cultivating an awareness and learning how to coexist with it, which is a great first step in making change. It's about getting curious of the fear and challenging it. These voices are rooted in my own protective mechanisms, born from a desire to shield myself from the pain of rejection or failure. They're my mind's way of saying, we've been hurt before. Let's avoid this at all costs. But it does it in such a cruel way. Vulnerability is often romanticized as courage, as the gateway to connection and growth. But in practice, leaning into vulnerability can be deeply uncomfortable. Why? Because it requires us to confront these protective templates head on. It demands that we question these voices of shame, acknowledging their presence, and make a conscious choice to move forward anyway. That conscious choice is where patterns come into play. When we've been hurt in the past, we develop these strategies to protect ourselves, like avoiding the risk, shutting down emotionally, or even dismissing our own desires before anyone else can have the chance to do so. These patterns are automatic and ingrained, but they can be unlearned with effort. Change amplifies the discomfort we feel. When confronting shame and vulnerability, it forces us to step beyond the familiar into spaces where our own protective templates can no longer guarantee safety. Ooh. For me, this interplay is most noticeable when I take on new projects. Let's go, for instance, like these videos. At the onset, I feel a rush of excitement. Wow, this is important information. How do I support the community and change? How do I lean into my own goals? But soon after, these critical voices emerge, reminding me of the risks, the judgments, and even the potential for failure. Deep breath moment. Whew. The discomfort lies not just in the act of change itself, but in the stories we tell ourselves about what change represents. Shame convinces us that we're unworthy of success or even connection. Our templates reinforce that belief by replaying old narratives. Remember when you tried this before and it didn't work? Remember this last experience and oh my gosh, how embarrassing that was. It's safer to stay where you are. But it's only acknowledging these intertwined dynamics, shame, patterns, and even the fear of change that we can begin to unravel them. Through years of navigating these challenges, I've learned that moving towards vulnerability and change requires both awareness and skill. I've talked about tools in the past, and some of them are going to sound familiar, but let me share how they've helped me. When those shameful voices arise, the first thing I do is stop and breathe. You've seen me do that a few times in this video. It's also my way to ground and say, I'm present here. I can be in this moment and be with. It's also stopping that thought pattern. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but forcing on my breath reminds me I'm here. I'm not trapped in that past pain. Deep intentional breathing helps regulate my nervous system and creates a pause between the trigger, the voices of shame, and my response and how I can show up. Instead of running from that discomfort, I've leaned into it. This doesn't mean wallowing in that self-doubt or forcing myself into situations I'm not ready for. It means accepting the discomfort as part of the process. When I hear these critical voices, I don't try to silence them. I acknowledge them and I ask myself, why are you showing up right now? What are you trying to protect me from? This act of curiosity softens the power of those criticisms. The most transformative tool has been creating new patterns to replace my old ones. Instead of defaulting to avoidance, which I did really well in the past, or self-criticism, I consciously choose behaviors that align with self-compassion and growth. For example, when I'm afraid to share a new idea, I remind myself this idea is valid because it matters to me, because it matters to what I'm doing. It's about rewriting those narratives we've internalized. Another big thing is celebrate the small wins, no matter how silly or insignificant they can be. Every time I choose vulnerability, whether it's putting these videos out there, sharing my thoughts, or trying something new, I take a moment to again breathe and acknowledge the courage it took. These small moments of celebration reinforce my progress and remind me change is possible. It also rewires that it's not so scary, making it easier every time. As I wrap up today, I want to leave you with this thought. Shame, vulnerability, and change are deeply intertwined, and navigating them requires both patience and persistence. It's not easy, as I say on these podcasts every single time. It's about slowing down and understanding. The discomfort they bring is not a sign of failure. It's proof that you're evolving, learning, and growing into the person you're meant to be. This journey is not linear. It's not easy, but with awareness, taking a deep breath, and a willingness to lean into the discomfort, you can move towards vulnerability and embrace the change you seek. Remember, the voices of shame may always be part of your chorus, but you can learn to harmonize with them in a melody that resonates with courage and self-compassion. Thank you for sitting with me in this uncomfortably comfy place. Stay curious, stay courageous, and lean in to the discomfort. Until next time.